So many random and unusual circumstances, some negative, came together to create the proper setting for the painter Suzanne Valadon to flourish. She was beautiful, self-taught, brash and independent, poor and lower class, which, ironically, as a woman, allowed her greater social freedom, but most importantly was the intersection of time and place. Valadon lived and worked in Montmartre, a newly added section of Paris. It was the center of the world's artistic life at a time when the concentration of artistic talent was at its height. Valadon, a controversial figure who defied convention, was a celebrated painter during her lifetime, but until recently had been all but forgotten after her death. Suzanne Valadon, originally named Marie Clémentine, was born in 1865 in the French countryside to an unwed mother. To escape the shame of pregnancy out of wedlock and to find work, her mother relocated them to Montmartre, the center of Bohemian culture. It was an inauspicious time. France was a year away from defeat by Prussia, a disastrous event that was followed by the Paris Commune, a bloody 2-month-long insurrection of Parisians against the French government. It was a dangerous and exciting time. Valadon, audacious, irreverent, and rebellious, cut school and educated herself on the streets. Quote, "It was only in the streets that there was excitement and love and ideas, what other children found around their dining room tables." After a variety of odd jobs, Valadon entered the circus, but after a career-ending fall, again sought work. At the offhand suggestion of a friend, Valadon found herself at the Place Pigalle, where artists seeking models gathered. Her first appearance at age 16 caused quite a stir. Quote, "I remember the first sitting I did, saying to myself over and over, 'This is it.'" And so began Valadon's 10-year modeling career, an informal apprenticeship, posing for, and in many cases becoming mistress, to artists such as Renoir, Toulouse-Lautrec, Puvis de Chavannes, to name a few. Free-thinking, controversial, and unconstrained by social propriety, she smoked, drank, and danced. Valadon made no secret of her affairs. By age 18, she was pregnant. Many speculated as to who the father was, but as far as Suzanne was concerned, the subject was not worth discussing. After recovering from the difficult birth of her son Maurice, Valadon, uninterested in motherhood, returned to modeling, drawing, and a hedonistic lifestyle, leaving her mother to care for her young son. A boy prone to fits of rage, he was given alcohol as a panacea. By age 13, he was addicted and would remain so for the rest of his life. As a means of focusing his energies, Suzanne later encouraged Maurice to paint. Turned out he was quite talented and would go on to become an acclaimed artist in his own right. As a child, Valadon sketched obsessively, but according to biographer John Storm, her ability was unremarkable. It was really her immersion in the artistic ecosystem around her, modeling for and befriending so many diverse and talented artists, that helped form her eye and refine her craft. Quote, "I had great masters. I took the best of them, of their teachings, of their examples. I found myself. I made myself. And I said what I had to say." In 1885, at age 20, Valadon met, modeled for, and became lover and muse to Toulouse-Lautrec. It was he who suggested changing her name from the prosaic Marie Clémentine to Suzanne, as her modeling for much older men reminded him of the painting Susanna and the Elders. Upon seeing her work, Lautrec was genuinely impressed and introduced her to his friend Degas, who, known for his generous attitude toward up-and-coming young artists, is quoted as saying, "Yes, it is true. You are indeed one of us." In 1892, at age 27, Valadon moved beyond drawing and began painting. 2 years later, French sculptor Albert Bartholomé, a good friend of Degas, recommended Valadon for inclusion at the exhibition of the Société Nationale des Beaux-Arts in Paris. She was the first self-taught female artist to gain admission. In 1895, she married wealthy banker Paul Mouzy. With financial stability, she was able to paint full-time. 7 years later, in 1809, she began an affair with painter André Uter, friend to her son Maurice and 21 years her junior. That same year, she paints Adam and Eve, an open celebration of desire, and the first depiction of full frontal male nudity by a female artist. Fig leaves were added later in order to exhibit at the Salon d'Automne. She had her first solo show 2 years later at the Parisian gallery Clovis Sagot, after which her paintings were regularly presented at the Salon d'Automne and the Salon des Indépendants, as well as by the French art dealer Berthe Weil, known for supporting avant-garde female artists. In 1923, at age 58, she paints The Blue Room, a startlingly contemporary work that challenged the traditional male voyeuristic gaze. In the words of art historian Bridget Alsdorf, her model is an anti-model, a woman who is posed as not posing, who might tolerate our gaze, but gives away nothing. During Valadon's lifetime, she had 19 exhibitions, 4 major retrospectives, and was able to live off the proceeds of her art until her death in 1938. The French state, as well as the Musée de Luxembourg, bought her work, but her legacy is often overshadowed by that of her sons, whose work appears in major U.S. institutions. According to Art Forum, Valadon was admired in her time, even hailed as a virile talent on par with Gauguin and Cézanne. But her libertinism and career as a model, only one step above prostitute in the eyes of bourgeois society, left her legacy vulnerable to devaluation. A criticism, by the way, from which male artists appear to be immune. Fortunately, attitudes are changing. In 2021, the Barnes Foundation mounted an acclaimed retrospective exhibiting her for the first time before a U.S. audience. While not linked with any particular movement, a challenge for curators, Valadon's work is an amalgam of the extraordinary influences of the time in which she lived, as well as her own unique vision. Here's hoping more U.S. art institutions celebrate her legacy. Thanks for watching. Please share, subscribe, and get your art fix on. Until next time.